What up, what up, what up? My hair, I never looked at it. Whoopsie. They can't access your screen. Try captivating the screen. If it continues, I guess my computer doesn't like streaming on my other monitor because it's poopy. So I'm going to unplug the other monitor. What's up, guys? It's your boy, Jim Rat Crypto. This is Crypto in the Morning, live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. The most non-biased, consistent alpha males on the planet. Thank you very much. And we are coming at you live every single day with the latest and the greatest as far as we see value wise, because I guess value wise comes to everyone differently. What we think, giving you guys the information, talking about what's the most exciting fringe alpha out there. That's what we look for all day long, By the time me and Sam are done, I'm never paying a tax again in my life. You hear that, IRS? You hear that, IRS? I'm going to figure out how to not pay taxes on your ass. And it's going to take about a year. Once I do it, you're done. Okay? Because we got stuff like liquid loans coming out. Let's be honest, guys. I don't talk about Pulse Chain too much because it's a promise coin. But the more I look into tax stuff, because it's more individually important to me, the more I get excited about liquid loans. You know what I mean? Like, because I'd be thinking about taxes because I'm going to have to do a whole bunch of different tax stuff at the end of the year this year. So I start thinking about it a little bit. And then I start thinking, man, a lot of this could be negated with a thing like liquid loans. In my opinion, if you're against two assets that you really like and trust, obviously. Anyway, blah, 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 guys. Sam's in the background. We're going to do a little bit of a wrap today. Y'all know I streamed last night. I've been jumping around, trying to get a little more fluid, just trying to, sometimes I just got to let it go. Because there's a lot to cover in crypto. And I see so many biceps in the chat, guys. What is up, guys? Throw your biceps up if you're in here. Appreciate everyone. Haven't tweeted this out or anything, guys. I was happy with the turnout last night. I was excited to be able to chat with everybody. Different group of guys. It was a good time. And then sup GRC. What up, Alan? Par. Dante. Oh, my God. I'm going to pull up that Dante just so Sam can see it before we get started. My boy Dante, who's always in the chat. He's always calling me hot. I don't know if he's gay or Dante. I'm assuming you're gay, because you call me like sexy and hot all the time. I'm no judges. I don't care. I'm just, trying to be more aware of who I'm talking to. But he posted the best Richard Hart video yesterday about Richard calling out Celsius a year ago. And I'm going to pull it up real quick because it was God mode prediction. And I just want to do it because he's always giving me lots of love on here, which I appreciate, of course.
Or I'm telling you, if you have money in Celsius, pull it.
If you have
money in
BlockFi, pull it. I'm telling you.
This was 1 year ago.
Money in Celsius, pull it. If you have money in BlockFi, pull it. Or when you never get your money back, don't be surprised.
Bruh.
That was dope.
You already know what time it is.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phones.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phones.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Smoking no blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some hedron, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way.
D5 Pro.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phones.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phones.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Yo, what's up, boy?
Hey, what's good? What's good? How you doing?
We got 50 in here before the intro's over. You know I like that.
Yes. What's up, everybody? Good morning. I started reading through the half year Binance annual report. So every 6 months they do something like Crypto.com where they do kind of like a state of the nation for
Wait,
crypto.
start that over one more time. You saw? Is this something you looked up or that you scrolled across?
CZ posted about it, so I clicked on it. It's 71 pages long, so I haven't finished it yet.
71 pages, eh? It's a real report.
It's a
real report. That's not like a play report.
It's not like a report and you have 4 paragraphs and that's the report. It's
Yahoo Finance report.
this is a pretty intense report. Also, just because
good for them. Hey, wait, Sam just said intense report. Whoever wrote that report, biceps for you.
Check out the and I'm just 100%.
Sam be grinding. Yes, Sam loves reading. One of Sam's favorite things to do, and I'm just assuming this, I don't really ask him, is he loves to read good literature.
I love learning. I truly love learning.
It's so good when someone else put their time to sit there for fucking months on end. Because as men, we think about this because we do a lot of work. So we're like always thinking about the back end too. You're like, man, this guy really put his heart and soul into the 72 pages. This dude is absolutely locked into his work, in his world, in his zone. You can kind of tell that when you're reading something like that, can't you?
Ooh, and yeah, it's good. So I'm just at the very beginning. I just wanted to point this out because I like it brag.
I like this shit too.
Check out this. The person behind this is G Wang Chua or whatever, and they have they're the CFA, which we can dive into a little bit in a bit. But that's also what I have. So I just like to point those things out where I see them. Well, also Charles Hodgkinson, I think is how you say his name. The guy behind ADA, Cardano, GRC is going to have a little clip for us that we're going to watch through.
We watched it last night, guys, but I know all you morning birds weren't watching last night. So we're just going to tune into it for like a peep, like a 9-minute thing. And the reason I appreciate this has more to do than just with crypto. I appreciate Charles Hoskinson because he understands how to get information across to normies. To random ass old boomer dumb butts.
I have something that I wanted to mention here too. So this, which is 39 pages long, the Chia Network white paper. So
I haven't even looked yet. That's been on my list. What did you think? Did you read it?
I read through the whole entire thing.
How was it?
Very well put together. Very well put together. Also, some interesting takeaways here, which they've raised VC money because they want to take the entity public while the blockchain is decentralized. So I was remember I was a little bit judgy on that one when they first came out, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm glad I read through this. They want to take the entity, kind of like the entity, the foundation behind Ethereum, but instead of having it be a foundation,
hey.
Public.
Hexdeck 16, the Prosperity Project. My boy just posted a picture this morning. We're going to post that up at the end.
Yes.
We'll post that up at the end. One of the best transformations that Hex has seen and been documented so far in the early legacies of Hex bodybuilding. And that transformation, his whole attitude, everything he brings to the table has just 10x, and he's just absolutely crushing in every single way. Absolute madness beast right there. Thank you so much for the $55 super chat, Hexdeck. I very much appreciate it.
So back into this here, the foundation behind Ethereum is over in I think in Switzerland, and it's a foundation. So what if Ethereum had launched and the essence or the purpose of the foundation, right? Because there's right now is to accelerate the development of Ethereum or some fucking fancy vernacular to try to make it sound cool. But what if instead of going that route, they took the foundation and they made it into a public company that serviced the blockchain, and that's kind of like what this is behind us. So instead of any of the VCs,
so just explain it in the most layman's terms as possible. I kind of know what you're saying, but I want to know more about what you're saying.
Chia Network is a consensus network based on the space and time. So space is there's space in my phone, right? And there's space in your phone and space in our computers. Like that space, hardware space. And then part of the algorithm is based on the time related to.
Is there a time lock function, or is it a continuing rate?
It's just continuing. And they have.
Is it decentralized-ish?
Way more decentralized than Ethereum or Bitcoin. There's, I think, over 200,000 nodes. Think about that. We've got 6,000 on Ethereum. We've got maybe 12 or 15.
And we've already highlighted that as an issue. Not a major issue, but something that needs to be changed long term.
You've heard Bullish mention, and I've talked about it, and other people talk about it, torrents, right? Like that's.
I know that now.
Okay. The guy behind BitTorrent was this dude. The guy who started this.
Oh, really? Oh my God! No wonder everyone likes this shit, because he's probably very nuancedly insightful on the space early. You know, you could
super thoughtful.
I want to highlight this again because it's kind of the ethos of the episode. It's like men that take control of what they're doing, and you can pick them out. And I don't like Cardano that much as a speculative asset. I don't. Personally, first of all, did absolutely mind-bending gains. So if you think it's stupid, then you can suck it. Because if you bought at 1 cent and it went to $3, you'd have been happy. So, like in 2 years, 4 years. So I didn't do that, any of that. I watched the price action of Cardano limp compared to some of the assets that I had. So I stayed away. Just in every way, it always just limped a little further. It never shot up as high. I just stayed away. I didn't like the liquidity. It just didn't seem like maybe it was being held up by something that I couldn't really get my beat on. But anyway, the way that Charles kind of goes about giving information is like, you know how I can only do things if I love it, or I just won't do it. I just won't do it. Like it's like someone could put $1 million and say, at the end of this year, you get this $1 million, but you have to do this every single day for the whole year. I would just say no. I would just say no at the moment because I would have no choice. My personality. I know myself well enough now. I would put no effort into it. I would give it half-ass unless it's what I need to be wanting to be doing. And you know how everyone says in crypto, there's rug pulls all the time. Everything's a rug pull. How can you kind of undercut some of that? And I'm starting to realize you can kind of dive into the founders hard enough to realize their incentive structure. You can actually identify incentive structure as a specific detail. Like it's not like if somebody's rich and they have unlimited assets and they can't gain anything from you, is their incentive structure different than someone that has $37,000 in their bank account and has 3 kids and has to pay for something for their wife because they got divorced? Different incentive structure, right? This guy's working on creativity. He's working on passion. This guy's working on scarcity because he has to. And I wanted to put myself in a position, like I kind of found that from you and like others that I respected, that in order for me to write a 46 pager or like, you know, do something great, not just saying that off the top of my head, I have to be super invested emotionally into what I'm sorry guys, I know we're men, but emotionally I have to be invested into what I'm doing. So, and that's why I respect Charles, because he never talks about price action. Ever. I have never heard that motherfucker mention the price of his coin one time in his entire life, because I truthfully believe it doesn't make a fucking difference to him.
Correct. You had mentioned Charles and how you started to look into ADW a little bit, and how the dude wants to bring this to maybe say less developed parts of the world. And I was like, that's interesting, and that's what made me think of Chia, because I don't know if I highlighted it in here, but there is a good section where they go on to talk about the first places that are going to go through adopting crypto.
So they actually talk about like the ether, like.
Okay, yeah, I actually highlighted this section. Most of the G20 nations, so these are big. We
can also pull the page up if you want to just read it from the.
It's like a paragraph.
If it's short, if it's short, don't matter. Go ahead.
Just why we believe there are many opportunities for blockchain and cryptocurrency to enhance the largest markets. So this is the G20 markets, right? Because we didn't have, this is what it was talking about. We have seen that the sense of urgency and the greatest understanding of the power that a sustainable, secure, and compliant blockchain can bring are better understood outside of those markets. What is Binance doing? They're focusing outside of the Western nations. What is Charles
They're
Hotchkiss?
focusing on everyone.
And,
Finance is focused on fucking every human on Earth.
and
Anyone can get into Binance, rich, poor, fucking only a cell phone, only the dumbest cell phone that you can buy at a trap store. Like you can get on Binance.
and we're going to see this. Those are. What if we
I know.
see the shift of economic power over the next decade being to what we classify now as third world countries, but those are the ones who actually have the resources because they decided to adopt crypto before our moms did, before
So
the masses here
oh
did.
wow. Oh,
What
that's
if that
so,
dynamic
wow.
shifts?
What if it switches on its head? Because even so, in what he's saying, guys, is if the non-Western world, if the third world gets their hand on just a fucking little bit of crypto, just the smallest little butt hair of crypto, maybe $300 worth, years before the adoption curve happens, or years prior, 6 months before our parents with actual decent amounts of funds kind of get in and start pushing the system, there could actually be a dynamic shift in the entire economic class of the world happening. And you got to think that these regulators and stuff are thinking about this because they're worried, right? They're worried about power loss, nothing else. The fucking money is all fake. It's all fucking fake. Me and Sam know that, dude. You can make bullshit money doing thousands and thousands of really horrible things, and it's not hard, and you can still get away with it. So it's not about money. It's about power. It's about control, and that is not a bad thing. This doesn't mean they want to put a gun to your head and blow everyone to smithereens. They want to be able to control shit until they die, and that's it. That's just normal human life, right? So I think this could really be the first time where a freaking technological shakeup forces the hands of. So the hand forcing is going to be happening here shortly, right? Like within the next 5 years, there has to be some forced hands going on, and I would love to talk to some big brains in crypto about this. I'm talking like guys like Charles, and that's what I want to get this channel to the point where I can just talk to the motherfuckers.
What, bro? The episode yesterday, just on tangent before we get into Charles's video, amazing, awesome episode. If you guys didn't catch it, you should. I would say like go listen to that. Yeah, go listen to that episode. Awesome. I am so curious. I don't know how to capture the data. I don't know where to check other than say like Google Trends or waiting for industry reports to come out and just kind of visual like how many people, how quickly we're growing, but also how quickly new people are getting into crypto. I mean, if my prediction around 2027 that 50% of the world population's in crypto, shit is going to go effing fucking bonkers. Right? What if we have that? Where
even if it's like 10%, because it depends how it gets adopted. Like, because there's two waves of thought, like the third world kind of doing it and it being a little slower, and like this being a big clunk in the system, and us just waiting a little bit longer, or is this just going to happen now? Like, isn't that crazy though?
Yo, dude, let me ask you a question. Do you believe that new technologies follow like an adoption curve, like we've looked at every single time? If that's going to hold
this new technology thing, though, can we talk about that and open that up for a second? Because is this really new technology? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do they have the resources to do all of this stuff? Absolutely, but it's just a different technology. So, like, I don't want to say, new's a weird word, right? Like, I think there's some people in the chat that could have said this has been going on for decades and decades and decades, but like guys like me and you just didn't really have verbiage for it yet. Like we weren't thinking about it or whatever. The blockchain, the weird thing about the blockchain, it has limiting factors. There's limiting factors to the blockchain that make building on it not efficient. So a lot of these things, as I go along, these banking systems, all the software, much more efficient, but centralized entity, right? Like just completely centralized, no autonomy, blah, 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 blah. Is the blockchain tech, Sam, just as we talk, like, is it just because of the ledger system where everyone is shown? Is it just like everything is shown, therefore that's new technology? Like, So it's not really new. It's just like we're using this differently, right?
Well, I think of blockchain in the one sense is how I think of transparency. Or I think of increasing transparency. If there was a way to put this into law with our government here in the United States, where there had to be at least 1 degree of increased transparency or more in our government on what is actually being taken place, this would act as a hedge against stupidity, right? Like, because that shit is going to continue to be more and more transparent.
Yeah.
And if you put it into some type of law or some type of regulation where this is definitely going to take place, I think this would act as a hedge against really stupid behavior.
If you had 100 grand right now, just separate, just start over, blah, 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 in your bank account, and you wanted to get it to crypto, but you wanted nobody to know at all, zero, no transparency. Do you think at this point you could make that happen?
Yes.
It would be tricky, and you would have
it would take time.
Yes. So don't think, guys, it's not like 2 clicks. We're not talking about 2 clicks. I'm asking him as like, are we getting to that point where us really nuanced guys can get in? Like, again, this is so early. Like, I'm asking a guy who knows how to dig through random shit if he thinks it's potentially possible, and I'm hedging towards yes as well, because I have enough friends with enough money that could use Tornado Cash. So if you get a Tornado Cash, this is one of my questions to you. If I get a Tornado Cash coming at me, can that still be traced out the same way? Like if I Tornado Cashed it out?
No.
Yeah, so that could be close-ended, right? Like,
but there's the fiat to crypto. That's like the bridge that needs to be. And there's several ways you can do this.
I would just get another guy with cash to do it.
Correct.
I would get a guy with cash to do it. And you know, I know a lot of guys that keep $100,000, $200,000 cash in their safes as like a backup, and they buy crypto.
Correct, and I definitely think it's possible. But let's get back to
no.
On the adoption curve, because I was thinking about this after the show from yesterday. With the adoption, I've talked about Tesla. I've talked about the EV growth. By the end of this decade, you will not be purchasing an ICE or a gas engine vehicle. It will not be legal to purchase a gas engine vehicle, but it's not so much that it won't be legal, because then you put the responsibility on the government. It is because of market forces. You will not be able to purchase a gas vehicle. If you look at 2 years ago, just 2 short years ago, annual vehicle production in the whole world was around 90 million vehicles, including China. And there was around 2.4% of the global annual output was EVs or quote green vehicles, right? The next year, I'm sorry, 3 years ago it was that. The year later it was 4%. Last year it was 8.3%. What is that following? That's following the effing adoption curve that we talk about constantly. Crypto is going to do the same exact thing.
It already is. It just hasn't been adopted. Like, it's already there. It's just like people gotta like scram. It's like it's a different kind of tech, so they're not gonna like force you into it right away, because they're just not incentivized to. But the smart guys are getting in. All the smart guys are getting in. Like, if you know a smart motherfucker on the streets and he doesn't know about crypto, he ain't a smart motherfucker. So just learn that. And I'm not saying he doesn't heard of it, but this is where the money's at. All you gotta do is check the chart once. Okay, so
give us a little.
This one I haven't watched yet. So this is the most explosive video from him from the last 2 days. It's only 2 minutes long, but supposedly he just wrecks Michael Saylor, and he's a very soft-spoken, gentle, what do you say, like compassionate man. So if he says anything aggressive, just know that is out of character for him, and he is being passionate about it. But then we'll go into the other video. I wanted to see this one myself.
What are your thoughts on Saylor claiming Cardano as a security? Well, Mike Saylor is the Tone Vase of this cycle of, him and Jimmy Song, of this cycle of crypto. So back in the day, we had Tone, and Tone was this podcast. He's still around, and I like Tone, but he had this thing. It's like, everything's a scam. It's a scam. It's a scam. Oh, it's a scam. Oh my God, it's a scam. Everybody's scamming. He even had this thing called the Scammies. It was his awards ceremony, the Scammies. So now we got Mike Saylor. He's like, Bitcoin is the way. Again, it doesn't do anything for RealFi. I can't build a decentralized power grid. I can't build a centralized telecommunications company. I can't build decentralized compute. I have no identity solution. It's not programmable, so I don't have dApps and DeFi. I can't even issue an asset, so I have no NFTs, right? It's all outside of that. But don't worry, layer 2 protocols that are highly centralized will somehow solve all of this. Great. So that's great. It's the best thing ever, and it's magical, and who cares about the mining and all this? Everything else is scam, and everything else is security. Nobody controls it. It's completely decentralized, far more than Bitcoin. Has more use and utility. People buy the token not to speculate, which is the only thing they can do with Bitcoin. They buy the token to use it for stuff, I don't know, medical records and whatever the hell else they're doing because it is real life utility. But that's a security. But the thing that only thing you can do is speculate on is not. I think Mike's head is all fucked up and screwed up. And it's just one of those cases where he's dick deep, full dick in with Bitcoin. And so, it's got to work.
He's dick deep.
He goes bankrupt. So I don't pay much attention to it. And I don't think it's a productive conversation at all. And frankly, the most difficult, toxic, and useless people to engage with are Bitcoin maximalists. They're not intellectual.
I love this.
At any given time.
Thank you, Charles.
Proof of stake system. Somebody can just arbitrarily take all your money and shut it down. It's not honest. It's just libel. It's not true. Protocols don't do that, and they feel they have.
Wow, that's a interesting.
Let's talk about it while I pull up the next video. Just mention that he mentions the Bitcoin maxi thing. I think you're along the similar tone as that. If you had to explain it, how would you explain your experience with people in the Bitcoin community from a really raw, unbiased, like I know you, so like, but for everyone else, a raw, unbiased, you're just in the space, learning, playing around. What do you see with the Bitcoin community?
Well, interesting story.
And the token itself.
So related to Bitcoin, yesterday I received payment from my store, thetriggeredbrand.com, if you guys care to check it out. And they paid in Bitcoin, right? So they paid in Bitcoin. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. They're paying in crypto. This is awesome. And then it's like, okay, well, I can't do anything with this. Like, what the F am I going to do with?
And this is coming from someone that just kind of got into crypto, and most of your crypto you can do shit with.
Correct.
So he's new, and he's like, what the fuck? He's like, where's the stake? Where's the even no third? Like what?
And how do you even get Bitcoin to Ethereum?
Oh my God.
I think there's an RSK bridge, and then there's a DEX for Ethereum, and you can do it that way. And I couldn't even just remember what it was. And I was like, okay, cool, fuck. I'm gonna have to transfer this back to Coinbase. We get charged a fee, and then I'm gonna have to transfer this out again.
Like I know in a weird way, people have used Robinhood for that, and I've actually been hearing like positive feedback about Robinhood as a transition to get your crypto onto. So I'm gonna look into that more. But how do you guys swap your jaunt?
How does anybody swap it without going through a centralized exchange? How do you swap your Bitcoin into something else? So, but the point of that and what Charles Hodgkinson was just talking about, utilizing Bitcoin for other thing than just kind of like holding it, like what the F? That's all you're going to do with it, right? Like I wanted to take that money that I received in Bitcoin,
dude, put it on sell. Dude, you're fine.
Yeah, right. Put it in sell. Put it in BlockFi.
You're getting crazy rates on sell right now, bro. You're good. Like you're fucking good. There's channels that are waking up today and telling people this, and that's truthfully sucks for the people that are watching that. I feel horrible. Thank you again, Richard Hart, for a year ago when I was still very fresh, reminding me not to put my money on Celsius and BlockFi, and that it was not going to the moon and forever, because that's what I heard.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hoskinson, you may proceed.
Hi, everybody. Chairman Maloney, Ranking Member Fishbach, members of the subcommittee, and congressional staffers who work so hard. Thank you for inviting me to testify at this hearing. I applaud the work of this subcommittee, and I appreciate you all taking the time to provide a forum for the blockchain industry. The blockchain industry has grown over the past decade from a small group of uncommercialized volunteer developers, and it was very small, believe me, to a $1 trillion global economy encapsulating sophisticated engineering, scientific research, publicly traded companies, and millions of users. While our remarkable growth yields significant opportunities ranging from infrastructure security to entirely new economies like metaverses and NFTs, it also has presented new challenges and amplified the existing problems. Our legacy systems cannot handle the rapid movement of value without counterparty risk and require centralized middlemen. Our regulatory tools, risk management systems, and oversight processes were never designed for such speed, scale, and rapid evolution. For example, in just 4 years, our industry has touched concepts ranging from IPOs to intellectual property to completely new business structures called DAOs that are effectively leaderless and jurisdiction-free. Reflecting upon the 20th century, the dominance of the United States has rested upon 3 pillars: our financial services, our technology companies, and our manufacturing capabilities. These industries are rapidly transforming under the demands of globalization, increased competition, new technologies, and our desire to define ESG rules to ensure a sustainable, values-driven global economy. At our
The girl in the
our
background
industry's
says try not to
technology
laugh.
is about creating distributed ledgers to store information that needs to be transparent, auditable, time-stamped, and immutable. This process enables records of social and economic concerns to be reliable and programmable. For example, as a rancher, I have to deal with water rights, grazing leases, BLM land, and numerous other agreements, contracts, and economic events. Many of these are not digitized, nor are they shared in ways to provide emergent value to policymakers, regulators, and researchers. The consequences of this fragmentation and lack of digitization are a large amount of inefficiency, replication of work, and a lack of access for entrepreneurs and innovators who could build new products and services that would dramatically reduce costs and improve efficiency for all stakeholders. The power of blockchain technology is its universality and permissionless model for innovation. Our company, Input Output, has never had to pay a royalty, file a patent application, or acquire a license to pursue business in countries as diverse as Ethiopia to Mongolia. Thus, we have to understand that categories-based regulation that is segregated to the borders of a particular jurisdiction and relies upon centralized actors for reporting and disclosure is unlikely to be effective and frankly will inhibit regulation. Furthermore, the Internet's governance, evolution, and innovation aren't controlled by the ITU or some other transnational body, but rather by thousands of interconnected and interdependent agencies and private companies working towards the self-emerging common goals of increased connectivity, capacity, and utility. If we are to discuss how to regulate our industry, protect consumers, and align growth with the realities of modern society, then we ought to have the humility to admit innovation makes specifics difficult. We should focus on principles instead. Blockchains enable the liquidity of value, thought, and commerce at a scale and speed society has never enjoyed before. Instead of predicting the outcome of these new capabilities, we ought to decide on what risks we must guard against, what fundamental rights consumers should have, and how to use new tools for the greatest possible good. It seems prudent to focus on concepts like measuring decentralization, information asymmetries, accessibility of data, and access rather than arguing about jurisdictional bodies or asset categorization. Cryptocurrencies are financial stem cells at their core. They can be nearly any asset and can change over time. Principles don't change. For example, the notion of measuring consolidation and its risks has been an endeavor the United States has pursued and is frankly good at since the Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890. While none of us are personally familiar with life in the 1890s, we'd certainly be comfortable with the intent and concepts behind the Sherman Antitrust Act. Centralization of markets and power seldom leads to good outcomes. I hope we can engage in a fruitful and ongoing dialogue throughout the coming months as the United States debates the regulatory future of the American blockchain and cryptocurrency industry. Like the prior Congresses in the 1990s discussing the regulatory framework for the internet that led to the rise of trillion-dollar companies, I believe this Congress can achieve great results by working with our industry in a principles-based legislative approach and leveraging our capabilities to innovate.
Principles-based.
Thank you all for
That'll
your
be.
time, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hoskinson. This time, members will be recognized for questions in.
Oh man, do you have some of those questions that was probably hilarious?
Well, the main question comes to the security topic, right? And basically, he brings up the whole time. He's like, "How are you guys going to focus on regulation for crypto when you can't focus on regulation for the banks?" He's like, he says you guys have failed in the regulations at the bank in a very nice way. And he mentions how much regulatory bodies there are and how they don't work. And basically he just was like, what do you guys, basically they're just trying to regulate it so they can get money out of it, right? They want to get money out of it, and they're trying to figure out what nuanced language they need to start preaching, really, to get people to abide by whatever legislation they have. When these companies that we're dealing with, I mean, these cryptocurrencies, they don't have nothing to do with the United States. Nothing. Nothing.
When he had mentioned,
Richard's not in the U.S. His dev team's not in the U.S. No one's
I
in
took a couple notes that he had mentioned. Well, it gave me to think about when Charles was talking that blockchain ascends any borders and pretty much regulations and gives scalability and new freedom. It's almost like being in the forest and looking at the tree in front of you, and then seeing that this tree is like so big, right? And then you zoom out and you realize that there's 192 or 200 plus trees in the world. Those are the organizations that call themselves like the countries of the world, right? There's 200 countries in the world. And when there is no border, right? Cryptocurrency, there's no border to use cryptocurrency. There's no regulations around this. There's no license that you need to get. There's none of the garbage associated with any of that stuff. And businesses like DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, can be set up on the blockchain. Think about that for a moment, where somebody like Google or Facebook or Amazon that wants to operate, they're in the United States, they want to operate just even within different states. Different states have different effing rules and regulations. Now, you take that and you scale out and you be like, okay, United States and Canada, right? The Canada has all fucking different set of rules to deal with. And then you go that and you try to operate in 100 different countries, and you realize how challenging and cumbersome that is. And then what if you could envision a world where all those regulations, all the business licensing, all of that taxation on the system, not necessarily as in direct taxation, but taxation as in slowing down because of the bureaucracy involved around innovation and cool shit happening and making people's lives better, that's all gone with blockchain. And like the pace at what shit is happening right now in blockchain, to me, who's always I have always loved technology. Even though I wasn't paying attention to this technology, I was paying attention to other technology. And the pace at which shit is changing right now, holy shit. We're entering this age where, think about this, the people who I have a business and I do some stuff internationally with my business, right? But there's different rules and regulations depending on what country you're doing stuff in. Now imagine those all going away and how much faster the world could be serviced by people who are trying to help other people. Holy shit.
It would be much faster. I mean, it would just get done, right? They're just clogging everything up. They're just slowing us down, But again, we don't really know how much they can slow this down. I don't even think they know. They don't know. They just are hoping, praying that the narrative will switch to their direction and they can milk as much of the public narrative. Because again, this is about power. It's not about money. And money and those things do relate, but at the end of the day, if they had ultimate power, that would be all they need. So they wouldn't need the money, because the money, again, it's all inflated, imaginary bullshit money. Like if you have a good idea these days and work ethic, like someone will give you $1 million in a minute. You know what I mean? But that's not easy to come by. But these guys that we deal with, it's a different world. This whole blockchain Web3 world, it's an extrapolation of what we've already seen. But the scalability is just ridiculous. It's the scalability.
Oh, dude, the scalability. Think about being able to reach 8 billion people here. Like, this is astonishing. Before
we got here,
we can just read through some of the highlights here in the beginning, but I wanted to touch on that comment from Ryan I'm accumulating my dry powder through working extra shifts, cool loans, etc. As we come into this next capitulation phase, we've seen a run up, right? Ethereum is up almost 50% in the past month, right? From like less than $1,000 to now near $1,500, 50% in a month. What do you get? What do you think's going on, dude?
It's, you know, there's peaks and valleys on the way to hell. You know, it's just that's it. It's like fake out. This is a great time to take money out of Ethereum. You know, in my opinion, definitely could pump more. I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw a higher rate just for a little while. 24K Bitcoin, 25K Bitcoin, and then back to hell. So, guys, if you are extracting funds, just know it's not a forever downward spiral. Like it's an up and down and up and down. We went from $66,000 Bitcoin just months ago down to 40,000, right back up to 66,000. And everyone thought bull run forever. And now we're all the way down to 20K. So the pumps are not necessarily reflective of any short-term action. That's why TA in crypto is absolutely bogus. It's the dumbest thing that anyone could do all day long. It's stupid. It makes no sense. It's all about the macro. All you got to do is watch the news. Simple.
I'm curious to see what happens. I do think we see a sell-off, but I'm like, oh wow, this is up. This is up. This continues to go up.
I like that there's a little extra value in the system sometimes too. It's nice if you have extra, because you know I got a bunch of accounts. There's a little bit here, a little bit there, so you can start liquidating some shit.
Yep.
Putting in a USDC or whatever stable coin you feel comfortable with. The first half of 2022 proved to be a challenging period for investing in risk assets. Yeah, crypto was not spared from the market downturn. That also affected traditional asset classes such as stocks and bonds. I'd say pretty much everything, just like crypto, is the risk asset now. Like it's pretty much like everything's off risk except Netflix, obviously. But nonetheless, continued development and innovation in the crypto ecosystem contribute to our optimistic view of the future of crypto. The competition between the layer ones remains fierce, and we have one coming out that's going to dominate. Different L1s have taken different approaches towards increasing scalability. L2 deployment appears on track to become increasingly ubiquitous going into the second half of the year. It would not be surprising to see most, if not all, of the top ranked apps being deployed on some form of L2. Yes, 100%.
This next one's very interesting. This is what one of the reasons I wanted to read through these highlights here. Because
dominance of Ethereum in DeFi, guys. Again, he says dominance. That's an interesting word, but yes, he's so right here. Dominance of Ethereum in DeFi has continued to decline as other chains such as BNB chain catch up 100%. Development in the space remains strong and fundraising as DeFi hits all-time highs. Now, Sam, on that note, if Ethereum had dirt cheap fees, would this sentence be 100% different?
Yeah.
So that's, again, if Ethereum had dirt cheap under a penny fees, pulsechain.com.
Well, question on that. What's the difference between Binance and PulseChain? Other than just the copy?
We would have to compare those two. And I haven't thought, or, you know, I have stopped thinking about PulseChain, if you want me to be 100% clear. Like I can only have hopium. I can only be such a hopium doctor, you know, like I have to get on with my life too. And that's no defense of the I don't give a fuck when this shit comes out, but I'm just protecting my mental like space by like not thinking about it as much. But at the end of the day, I think PulseChain is more so a fork of Binance. Is PulseChain an actual fork of Binance rather than an actual fork of Ethereum? Isn't Ethereum and Binance is a fork of Ethereum, right?
So, well, yeah, in the one sense, it is Ethereum
It's
because
similar, but I'm sure there's just like you would have to like tack all the exact points up against each other to see,
because Binance is faster, Binance is cheaper, right? So the only difference is PulseChain is going to be financed is going to be like Ethereum.
Security, I guess if they want to if it gets more nuanced, we would have to learn again. We were way more fresh. I was way more fresh on this topic probably 2 months ago. Like I probably could have rattled that off. But I've been really trying to spread my mind and learn about the whole ecosystem because I just don't see risk on assets going up right now. So my brain is just a little bit dull for it. I'm trying to get more in the macro. But yes, That would be a good idea, Sam, for an episode. Binance versus Pulse Chain.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. Yes.
Yeah,
I
let's
like
do
that.
Binance versus Pulse Chain, then that we can refresh ourselves. So let me get to the next sentence. Trading volume of NFTs in the first half of 2022 remained resilient despite a sharp decline in June. OpenSea is still the leading NFT marketplace, but new entrants such as X2Y2, yes, I've heard of that, and Magic Eden have introduced strong competition. The shift is using NFT aggregators. NFT aggregators are lit. I don't even fuck with NFTs, but like I've looked at NFTX and it's dope. The shift to using NFT aggregators is likely to continue gaining ground, albeit and slowly. Yeah, no, I don't that for sure. I think that sentence is about as clear as could be and true, and they just cut right through the fat there.
This is what you've been talking about,
Mhm.
and somebody else had mentioned that this is so NFTs are just smart contracts, right? So you take the smart contract, and the first place that it was applied to was art. Well, then if you understand contracts, you understand the flexibility behind that, and it's just a tool that can be applied to fucking anything. It's going to eat up everything, and in the gaming space, which we already know, we've talked about, is massive, right? The amount of hours spent, the amount of money spent in gaming is massive. Now
It's ridiculous.
it's going to
People
shift.
will spend their whole lives, their entire human existence, playing these video games, and now they can do it and stream it, and now they can do it and make a living. You can make a living playing video games all day. Period. End of story. I wouldn't want to do that, but I could. I fucking could. If you think if I was doing RuneScape streaming for 3 hours a day and doing tutorial videos on it, it wouldn't blow up. It'd blow up more than this, because this is a little bit more dense, nuanced information that I enjoy learning. But the gaming industry is ridiculous because it's not, Sam. It's where they will give you their life, and it's automatic. It's like you can. I would love to say, oh no, I don't want video games to be the thing in the future. Nope, I don't like that. I don't want to support that. Doesn't matter what I think. Doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter what RH thinks. They all do it. They all play video games. They all fucking do it. Now we all sit at our computers more than ever. If you don't think this market is like one of the biggest markets in the entire universe, you're crazy. First one to come out with a real AAA game that blows up could be the absolute thing that pops crypto off. It could be the thing that really pops crypto off, because we always talk about legacy finance. But you know what could be stronger than legacy finance? Every fucking 12 to 26-year-old man in this world.
That NFTs set off the 2020 like kind of run, right?
Sam,
Gaming could set off the next one. Gaming
totally couldn't agree with you more.
What you just said, there was a game. I broke both of my arms in one day snowboarding back when I was a kid, and I couldn't do much, right? Because I have a cast up to here on this arm, and I got a cast to my elbow on this arm, and you can't really do that much, right? So that was when I played a little bit of video games, and there was a game called Halo that was really popular back in the day. And there was a lot of people who knew about Halo, but like you said today, it's way more connected. And if there's a game that like connects, like Pokemon or whatever the case is, or like what is the one?
Well, it'll be a
Fortnite,
AAA game. It'll be a big game, like it'll be
big game, and
it'll be like Fortnite.
And imagine NFTs, how they're sucking kids in to like crypto, because NFT is a space, and then they proliferate into other parts of crypto and DeFi. Well, gaming could be that next magnet that sucks in another several million people into crypto, and then they go off of that.
$6 billion. Fortnite made $6 billion in revenue in 2021.
One company.
In 2021.
Actually, one game of one company.
1 year. 1 year.
Massive, bro. This is going to be.
Fortnite made $1.1 billion from mobile gaming revenue, and that's separate from the desktop gaming experience. Completely, like they're not the same servers,
bro.
They made 1.1 billion from their phone playing a fucking game.
Bro, this is such an interesting.
We can't get people to click through shit.
This is that. I think that we're on something there. That this could be the next driver, right? Every time something like this happens, there's something that's kind of like the catalyst, right? Where NFTs really started exploding at because I was seeing about them, right? And I did videos before we started doing it. I think I did a video on NFTs, just trying to understand them myself. And that was a driver back in early 2020, I think. And it spurred a tremendous amount of interest in crypto in general, where we get a game like Fortnite that is just viral in terms of its popularity. People
and it has an
spending,
economy within it. So within these games, you go to a place in the game. So you click your thing. There's all the other people around. You actually go to a central AMM bot. There is a central AMM bot that you trade the currency within the game through for coins, and then you can trade the coins for real currencies or however that transaction works. That's the future. The future is everyone's already doing this shit, and someone just has to do it really right.
And when it happens,
It's hard,
that's
though.
going to be a magnet. It's going to pull in so many fucking
Everyone.
users.
It's no longer about crypto. It's about gaming. And it's no longer about crypto. It's about bodybuilding. It's no longer about crypto. It's about lifestyle. It's about, these things take on full generational trend lines where no one really understands the underlying asset anymore. And that's when you start getting into the viral situation. When no one understands the underlying asset they're dealing in, they just deal in it because that's what people deal in.
Mm-hmm.
In the terms of returns, the number of GameFi projects has continued to rise, but there are signs of slowing growth. Deal flows and healthy capital investments in GameFi exceeded over 4.1 billion in the first half of 2022. Yeah, so they got wrecked there. Again, this has not happened yet. No one's figured this shit out yet. Not even close. I don't care what people say about Illuvium. I haven't seen shit. I can't play the fucking game. In terms of returns, the large cap blue chip L1 coins have performed relatively well, even amidst market volatility. L1 and gaming tokens have exhibited some level of resilience, perform better when compared to DeFi and DEX tokens. Yeah, because DeFi and DEX tokens are all scams. Cryptocurrency would likely benefit from globally coordinated approach to regulation. Working with regulators rather than against them is probably a good approach. In the first half of 2022, there were more than 1,000 investments within the crypto space.
The two
investments? What do they mean? Different coins? 1,000 investments within the crypto space. The two areas that saw the most of investments were gaming, entertainment, and asset management. Asset management for show.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing. And as I remember, this is like literally 71 pages long.
Yeah.
So as I get through this, we'll probably talk about it more in the show as we find interesting little tidbits. But like this thing is pretty fucking massive to like get into. So it might take me a week or so to kind of digest all this information.
And we'll bring it back. We'll bring it back. We're gonna check more up on the market. Everything's going. We're gonna be covering this bear market like fucking ninjas. We're not worried about the bear market. All these other crypto influencers just say everyone's so scared. No one's scared about shit. All your bags are wrecked already. So what the fuck? Nobody cares. It's the bear market. We chill. We wait. The guys that are patient want to learn and actually want to be successful will stay. Just because the numbers change, we got the best chat in crypto here. Biceps in the chat, guys. I'm going to be back on 6 p.m. Eastern. Sam might be on too.
Maybe. Hey, yeah, she's not here anymore. So
we'll see what's going on tonight, guys. We're going to I'm going to get suggestions, guys. If you want me to cover anything, I want you right now. I'm going to end this stream in a second. Go to the comments when it's over. Put down there a link or a suggestion, something you want me to cover, whether that's funny, crypto related, anything. I would like to see what you guys want me to cover. And I would like to cover more things that you guys want me to look into because, things are getting a little more flimsy in the crypto world. And I want to know what people are thinking about. So this is the best chat in crypto, guys. That's absolutely for sure. I'm going to be coming back at you 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll see if Sam's there, guys. All our links are below. I'm going to drop a donation link if you want to be super nice and donate to me. That would always be helpful, guys. I'm coming at you again later. We're stepping up the restream game, Sam. I've restreamed twice now.
Hell yeah. I wanted to give a quick update as you get your donation link down into the chat there. If anybody wants to help support Juicy, this is what he's doing full time. This is what I'm doing too, but I also have other things going on. But if you would like to, hey, there's links down below for me as well. My LP positions are performing very, very well. Yes, better than I had.
Maybe we'll talk about LP later.
Yeah, better than I was actually expecting. I did have to make an adjustment this morning, and I dropped the ball. You know how you got charged the fee when you were claiming weight token? So there was something that I did that I got charged something, and I don't know what it is, but the total amount of fees I paid to adjust the position was $69. Not extreme, but also not something that you
not
want to pay.
negligible. Yeah.
Yes, correct, exactly. But that was a quick update. Still doing, 50 to $100 a day in LP, like collecting cash. So it's a good thing.
If you like collecting cash, watch us at 6 p.m. tonight. Bear market cash collecting is a lot different than bull market cash collecting because the approaches are just so different. And you have to have a really nuanced insight of what's actually going on. And as I learn more, it don't matter what anyone says. I've been staring at this screen for a year and a half straight. If these fools don't think I know exactly what the fuck's going on, they're crazy. I see it all. It's all on chain. It's the people that tell you, people are just incentivized to tell you whatever. But again, there are few people in the space that are just super honest, super open. And we learn from those guys, we learn about making passive income. We learn about decentralized crypto. We learn about all of it. We don't hide from what is going on. Just because it's safer to stake all your shit for a staking ladder does not mean it's the right play for you. Everyone has to learn the entire space so they can make the right decisions for themselves, have multiple wallets, better security. You cannot be flimsy with this shit or you will lose it. You got to know what the fuck is going on. I promise you, if you're watching this and you have a bunch of money in crypto, but you have no idea what's going on, you're going to lose it. I bet you, unless you just don't move it at all. But if you're active, messing around, clicking buttons, this bear market will extract your funds, period. If you're not prepared mentally. And that's what we're trying to do on this show, guys, every day at 11 a.m. Eastern. Sam, thank you so much for being here. Why don't we close with a little DeFi proof, guys? I want you in the comments after this, guys. I want you in the comments, period.
Young folks, you tripping on them motherfucker.
Rich at heart. Rich at heart.
Bought my hex from the fucking start. .1 every day we mark. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm rich at heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm rich at heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the hex, he is mooning. Looking at wives they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pull chains out and get me a check. He's gas up and got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. Hex I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm rich at heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm rich at heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my